In this video, I want to talk to you about prospecting for cash discounting using phone appointment scheduling. Now, this is without a doubt one of the most proven prospecting methods in our industry. I have personally sold dozens of merchant accounts using this methodology. I've seen salespeople make thousands of accounts from this. And so this is a very consistent strategy that you can use. It has a few drawbacks to it, but we're going to kind of break this down. And so my goal in this video is not really to go through script and all that. We're going to go through that in a little bit. My goal in this video is just to give you the numbers game and kind of what you should expect if you're trying to sell cash discounting over the phone. Okay. So let's just talk about the numbers right off the bat, and then we'll dive into more detail. So number one, you want to make 20 contacts a day. 20 contacts a day. Now, making 20 contacts is going to take you roughly 2 hours. It could take you as long as 4 hours. Just depends on the area that you're calling, okay? And so when I say a contact, I'm talking about just you've had a conversation with a decision maker, all right? The conversation might not have gone very well, and it might not have lasted very long, and that's okay. You just need to talk to 20 decision makers a day, okay? So by talking to 20 decision makers a day, you should be able to schedule about 3 appointments. All right. Right off the bat, you should be able to do this. Okay. So talk to 20 decision makers, schedule 3 appointments for yourself. Okay. Using a good script like we're going to talk about in this training course. So you schedule 3 appointments. Then when you go out on those 3 appointments, you're probably going to get at least one of those 3 is going to be interested and, moving forward in some way with the sales process. Okay. And of that one, you're going to close about 20 or about 30 to 50% of those of that one, right? So what that gets you is 2 to 3 deals per week, cash discounting. All right. Now, there's really not much to tell you about the phone appointment scheduling because the numbers game really is that simple. Now, what you do have to be careful about is, number one, you have to be careful about consistency and doing the work, okay? The 20 contact a day rule is, in my opinion, something that you really need to set in stone if you're serious about being successful in this business. Now, some of you could get 30 or 40 contacts per day initially, right? Because you're brand new to the industry. But what's going to happen is very quickly you're going to have follow-ups to do. You're going to have follow-up phone calls to make. You're going to have installations to do. You're going to have customer service, support. All of these things are going to start to crowd in on that prospecting time. But the number you have to stay consistent with is number of contacts per day. Do not cheat on that, okay? What happens is a lot of times with salespeople, especially when it comes to phone sales, they have one of 2 problems. Either things are going really well or they're going really bad. And in either case, they lose the prospecting. And so things are going really well. It's like, well, I made a sale today. Maybe you made 2 sales in a day. And it was your first appointment of the day. You went out, you made a couple sales, and you're just like, wow, this is amazing. What a great day. I'm not going to do any prospecting today. Things are going so well, I don't even need to do any prospecting. Maybe you feel like my pipeline is already so full. I have so many follow-ups to do. I don't even need to do any prospecting today, right? And all of a sudden, if you're not careful, a good day today is going to give you a bad day in 2 or 3 days. And so we don't want to go down that path for sure, right? What we want to do is we want to stay consistent with our prospecting effort. On the flip side, sometimes salespeople just have a bad day and they say, wow, I made 20 contacts already and I don't have a single appointment yet, right? Here's the thing about that. You have to understand this is a numbers game and it is going to play out over time as long as you have some ability to sell and you're following a good script like the one we're going to cover in this training course. Okay. So what that means is you're probably going to have a day tomorrow or the next day where maybe you set 4, 5, or 6 appointments out of those 20 contacts. It's a numbers game that's going to play out. Don't beat yourself up about it, okay? I actually do not advise initially, I don't advise you to set a goal for a number of appointments per day. I really don't advise that. I think a lot of times that can be counterproductive where you're like, I'm going to call until I get 3 appointments. Well, all of a sudden, 3 hours in, you got 1 appointment, and you're starting to get really, really discouraged. Instead, make it your goal to make 20 contacts a day. It doesn't matter how those contacts go, just make 20 contacts a day. And I promise you, if you do that and you follow a good script and you have a little bit of sales ability, that numbers game is going to play out. So let's break the numbers game down one more time quickly. And then I want to talk about one other concern, and then we're going to move on. So remember, 20 contacts a day. It's going to take you anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to get that, okay? 20 contacts a day. Then you're going to have 3 appointments that you set. So we're calling to set appointments to go out and meet with somebody face to face. I want to be really clear about that. That's what's going to be most effective. You can do the entire process over the phone, but it is significantly more difficult. All right. So in this case, what we're talking about is we're setting an appointment, then we're going to go out face to face, and we're going to go out and talk to that person face to face, right? Then of those 3 appointments, you're probably going to have one of the 3 that's going to be interested in moving forward, and you should be able to close at least 30 to 50% of those. Now, over time, you're going to be able to skew those numbers significantly, all right, in several places. The more experienced you get, those 20 contacts are probably going to net you 5 or 6 appointments on average. And so you get a lot better at that side of it. But even bigger than that is going to be when you actually go out to the appointments, you're going to get a lot better at closing those deals down. And so you're very quickly going to get to 1 sale a day. What is really how the numbers are really going to break out long term is going to be 20 contacts, 4, maybe 5 appointments average per day, and you're going to sell 1 of them. That's how the numbers are really going to break out down the road. But again, initially, we don't have that. Now, one last concern I want to bring up is geography, and this is where your organizational ability comes into play. I'm not going to make a video specifically about how to handle this problem. It's just a problem you need to be aware of, and that is your drive time. When you're calling on the phone, it's very easy to burn through a big area quickly. And so you want to be careful that you're not setting appointments for yourself where you're driving an hour for one appointment, then you drive another hour for another appointment, then you drive another hour for another appointment. You want to be very careful because keep in mind there's going to be a lot of follow-up involved. So make sure that as you're calling, you want to make sure that as you're getting your list that you're going to call, whether you're using Google Maps or whatever you're doing, you really want to make sure that you're staying in a pretty tight area at a time and really saturate that area. If you don't reach an owner, call them back during your next cold calling session because you really want to saturate an area. Then you want to go to the next area next to that one. Don't go to like one area on this side of the map and then go to the area on the other side of the map. That's a huge mistake because you're going to waste a lot of drive time and gas money going back and forth. So try to keep your route as tight as you can so you can very easily schedule those follow-up appointments into your day. So that's phone appointment scheduling. Very effective, very consistent strategy. The hardest part about it really is just making the calls. You got to make those calls and then you got to follow a good script and you're going to be all set.